I held off as long as possible because I thought an announcement was imminent. I just realized, okay, if this announcement happens after I've posted this video, I will just pin the confirmation in the comments down below and the description, because why not? But a fairly unexpected turn of events actually happened with Electrify America. Yes, the crappy charge network that is unfortunately the largest open charging network in the United States for now. They announced they're going to be adopting the North America charging standard. They're jumping on board, which essentially, even more so, confirms than we already knew that yes, the North America charging standard is becoming the standard for the American market. This is where the vast majority of electric vehicle manufacturers are headed. It's a better connector. It supports vehicle to grid. It supports vehicle to load. Third-party manufacturers are going to enable it for all kinds of charge providers. So no, it is not some Tesla monopoly. You are not required to buy the NACS connector from Tesla. Superchargers will not be the only chargers with NACS. But what's interesting is we were all predicting that VW would be one of the last companies to switch to NACS, but VW actually kind of owns Electrify America, and I would have thought that Electrify America would have been like dead last on the list of charge providers to accommodate for NACS. But if anything, if I'm Volkswagen, I would have announced that switch for the vehicles first and then the charge network later, but they're kind of doing the opposite, saying the charge network is going to get NACS. They haven't officially announced anything at the time of recording this video about the VW vehicles accommodating for NACS, which, by the way, they're not high voltage like Hyundai, Kia, or Lucid, so they should be able to get their full maximum speeds at superchargers if they were to accommodate for the NACS port. So there's not inherently a big issue preventing it. We just kind of expected them to drag their feet because they're a more European-focused brand. And yes, they do technically have some higher voltage vehicles under their company umbrella, like Audi and Porsche. Those vehicles are on a higher voltage, but of course they're a lot lower volume, so I don't expect that to influence their decision all too much. VW, I think, is one of the last big dominoes to fall before NACS officially becomes the only charge port on all electric vehicles, which is the 2025 future I am very excited for, when just no vehicles are actually shipping with CCS1. I feel very confident that is only a matter of time, but now that the biggest non-Tesla charge provider is switching to NACS, which is owned by Volkswagen, I definitely feel like the announcement should be imminent, right? That VW is about to announce the transition to NACS at any moment. It feels like it could be any day, which is why I postponed the making of this video as long as I could, because I didn't want it to get dated so quickly. There hasn't been an announcement, so knowing my luck, it'll probably be mere hours after I post this. But just because of their higher luxury brands having those higher voltage architectures, that might be reason enough for them to wait, because there would be a lot of concern if people are like, okay, well, don't you kind of own Porsche, so does that mean the Taycan is getting NACS? And in that case, it's going to be stuck with slower charging speeds at superchargers. But honestly, if Electrify America, as they said in their announcement, is going to be adding NACS to old chargers and new ones, I feel like the concern about superchargers being stuck at 400 volts shouldn't be that great anyway. If EA is going to be rolling out NACS, then why not bring the high voltage vehicles over to NACS in the first place? Because, okay, maybe you're stuck with 50 kilowatts at superchargers, but the charging networks you're already relying on, like Electrify America, EVgo, ChargePoint, they've all announced NACS support anyway. So I feel like that argument of, well, we need the higher voltage speeds is going to hold less and less weight, as now these third-party charge providers are also going to be accommodating for the superior connector, which I assume, because it's just a connector change on their end, they're going to be able to support the 800 to 900 to 1000 volt architectures. And maybe, according to the rumors, Volkswagen is currently in talks with Tesla right now. That may be because they're aware there's a chance the V3 superchargers could be retrofitted from the back end to start supporting those higher voltage speeds. That's a big misconception a lot of people have with the V3 superchargers right now. They think that, oh, well, they can only charge at 250 kilowatts. No, that's just the limit of the vehicles that are capable of charging there right now. It would take some upgrading on the cabinets on the back end, but not on the stalls and cables and plugs themselves. Those are still rated to support higher voltage speeds. It's just they've never had the ability to plug into a higher voltage car before until now. So I'm guessing that Tesla is kind of debating whether or not they want to formally make that announcement that yes, they will be upgrading existing superchargers to support higher voltage speeds, but that announcement hasn't been made yet. So here's hoping we get confirmation any day now and we see the official post down below. But I feel like it's pretty inevitable if Electrify America, who is literally the last company I expected to adopt NACS, is now announcing it. And I just want to say thank you, all these automakers, especially especially Ford, for being the first major legacy automaker to agree to switch. That has definitely triggered a landfall of adoption across the industry. And also thank you to Aptera for pushing everybody to make NACS an official standard in the United States. So we owe a lot of credit to them. And lastly, of course, we need to thank Tesla for making such an incredible connector with such great speeds and so much overhead that was designed all the way back in 2012. And yet we're still using it 11 years later, and we're still able to charge our EVs at very high speeds with very good efficiency. And I think this is going to make the transition to electric vehicles so much easier than having to expect everybody to go with different dongles and adapters depending on which car brand you get. So in just a couple years, I think my dream reality is going to take place where all EVs sold in the North American market are rocking this superior connector. What did you guys think of Electrify America accommodating for this port? Did it surprise you? Were you kind of expecting it? Feel free to let me know down in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. Thanks again. Have an excellent rest of your day.